Hey y'all, I'm Kara Perez, founder of Bravely Go, and today we're going to talk about where you can take all of that stuff after you declutter your house. Because we don't want to just throw it in the landfill or toss it in some turtle's backyard and have it end up in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So let's talk about decluttering. As you're decluttering your house, you're trying to make a more zen vibe for yourself. You're trying to minimalize. You are probably coming across a lot of stuff that's still good, right? You're like, this is good stuff and other people might want it. I don't want to just throw it out. Now, a lot of us default to, oh, I'll take it to Goodwill. But honestly, Goodwill is not the best option for a lot of your stuff because Goodwill doesn't want a lot of your stuff. Goodwill can't resell your old t-shirt with the stains on it just because it has sentimental value to you. In 2020, Goodwills in Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire alone threw away 13 million pounds of donations that they received because they could not resell it. Lucky for us all, I did the research on where we can take certain items that are in good condition to make sure that they actually get used and they're not going to end up in the trash. A huge part of reducing waste is making sure that the items that we have in our lives go to the right people or the right organizations that will actually use them. I know that, for example, I don't know how to do woodwork. So if a carpenter was like, hey, here's a really nice saw and really beautiful wood, I'd be like, cool, I can't use this. This is just going to be clutter in my house, or I'm going to toss it. I'm not a good donation spot for woodworking materials. But bringing woodworking materials to an organization that builds houses, that's a good spot for it. And really quickly, before we dive into my list, I just want to remind everyone that the best way to not have to constantly be decluttering is to simply try and bring less stuff into your life and into your home. Curbing our shopping habits is the #1 way that we can be more environmentally friendly and how we can escape this constant cycle of buy, declutter, buy, declutter, buy, declutter. There's more to life than constantly organizing the houses that we live in. Okay, let's get into where you can take your good condition items after a declutter. The first is furniture. If you're looking to make a little bit of money off of your furniture, you can always try to sell it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. But if you want to donate it, you can look for programs like Restore by Habitat for Humanity, local domestic violence shelters, or regional programs like Green Drop or Pick Up Please. Number 2, clothing. So like I mentioned earlier, try and avoid just dropping all your clothes off at Goodwill because I guarantee a lot of that is not going to get sold and you're just making Goodwill be the one to throw it out instead of you. Instead, take any professional clothing that you have that you were wearing to work to a local homeless shelter or a domestic violence shelter. A lot of people who are experiencing homelessness or who have had to leave their homes abruptly because they're unsafe need professional clothing because they're trying to land a job. They're going out on interviews and they don't have anything nice like a button down or a cute pencil skirt. So your old pencil skirt can help these people in a time of their life where they really need it. National organizations like this are Dress for Success, Free the Girls, and One Warm Coat. But what do we do about the clothes that aren't in very good shape, right? You're like, well, it's not really ready to be thrown out, but it's also not the cutest, right? It's looked better. You can take clothes like that to something like Planet Aid, which has 19,000 drop-off bins across the United States. And what they do is they take your kind of medium quality clothes, they either resell it or they help break it down more sustainably. Number 3, shoes. If you've got old sneakers that you've had for 10 years and they're not in good shape anymore, they can't be reused, they can be recycled. So you want to take them to a store that has a recycling program. When I moved out of Austin, Texas, I took 3 pairs of old sneakers to Fleet Feet Austin and dropped them off for their recycling program. Simply Google shoes recycling program Austin, shoes recycling program Minneapolis, wherever you live. Find a place and go ahead and drop those shoes off. Number 4, old rags, sheets, towels, and not nice clothes. Got stained bed sheets or a t-shirt that you've had for 10 years that really no one else should ever wear ever. Things that are not nice enough to be donated to other people or even really reused by another human. Don't give them to humans. Give them to animals. You can take things like old t-shirts, stained towels, stained bed sheets to your local animal shelter. They use all of these constantly because if there's one thing about animals is they're going to make a mess. So a lot of animal shelters need these kinds of low quality, not low quality, they can be high quality, but maybe just ugly towels, sheets, etc., so that they can use them to bathe the animals, for the animals to sleep on, etc., etc. Number 5 is food. Frozen or canned food can always be taken to homeless shelters or food banks. Fresh food can also be donated to these places, but sometimes if you've had something for a couple of days and you're like, this really needs to get eaten in the next 24 or 48 hours, it's better to look locally. And I'm talking hyper-local. You can give that to friends or family who live nearby, or you can even list it in online groups like Buy Nothing and say, hey, I've got 6 bananas and I'm leaving town tomorrow. Does anyone want these? They can make banana bread, etc., etc. If you don't have a Buy Nothing group, look for an online group that is for your neighborhood. When I lived in Austin, I lived in an area called Windsor Park, and there was a Windsor Park Facebook group. So I was a part of that as well as my Buy Nothing group. And between the two, it was really easy to get rid of fresh food that I wasn't going to eat for whatever reason. Number 6 is bathroom products. Half-used conditioner. Weird bottle of body wash. You're not sure how old it is, but it's 90% full. Hair straightener you bought and then decided you were never going to put in the effort to actually straighten your hair every day. What do we do with things like this? Well, first, anything opened or partially used, we're gonna list back on Facebook, right, into our Buy Nothing or our neighborhood groups. We're gonna try and get rid of those in our hyper-local community. Goodwill does not want your half-used bottle of shampoo, I pinky promise. But your neighbor might want it. Now, things like hair care items, such as curling irons or straighteners that you're not using, those can be donated to organizations like Dress for Success or Beauty Bus Foundation, which provides in-home beauty treatments for terminally ill folks. If you have something like gently used makeup, I'm talking about a blush that you tried once and realized it was too dark for you, or something like makeup remover wipes that you've only used 2 of, you can donate those to Project Beauty Share. They accept things like gently used makeup, shampoo and conditioner that are more than halfway filled, and beauty containers like makeup bags or travel bags. And they use them in their work, which is to help women and family who are experiencing homelessness, domestic violence, or abuse issues. Now, if you have a hair tool that no longer works and it can't be donated, you can actually mail that to InStyler and they will recycle it for you. I hope this helps. Let's keep more trash out of the ocean, y'all. We can do it together, I promise. Drop any recycling or decluttering tips that you have in the comments so we can all learn from each other. And please give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe.